Hi, my name is Christina and I am your librarian here at Christina's Bookshelf, and today I am bringing you Magic or Die by J.P. Jackson, published by 9 Star Press. This book has a romance in it, but that is not the focal point. We first meet James Martin, who is your run-of-the-mill alcoholic and chain smoker. He's a pleasant person to be around, quite the cheery demeanor. He's really trying to run away from his past, like so many of us do, until his past calls him and says, come in for a meeting. And he throws a little bit of a fit, but ends up doing it because the person on the other line, Miriam, really has him by the balls here. So he goes to, and this is why I need my notes because I don't want to mess this up. It is the Center for Magical Research and Development. And throughout the book, it's just called the CMRD. So we go to the Centers for Magical Research and Development, and this means that the world knows that there's magic. There are people born that have these extra abilities. And so there's schools. There's places for them to go, to learn, to get it under control so that they can go out and be normal human beings and live a normal life. Well, there are 5 individuals that have extraordinary talents. Usually you have one talent and you excel at that. These 5 people have more than one. And when James arrives into this meeting room and sees what's happening, he's furious. And when he finds out even more, he's livid. And this is kind of his state throughout the whole book, is that he's constantly mad. He's mad at Miriam, he's mad at the world, he's mad at the CMRD, he's pretty much mad at everything. He goes in thinking he's going to consult on what to do with these 5 people. In the end, he's reminded of a contract that he is in and that he is going to be their teacher. These 5 individuals are in their early 20s, and as I said, they have multiple capabilities. His job is in 6 months to have them under control so that they can fulfill other obligations with sponsors who would like to buy their ability per se, which helps fund the CMRD, which is a new concept to James. This is not how things went down when he was there last time. Another reason for him to be extremely upset. We have Ning, I didn't write these names down, so I'm hoping I remember them correctly. Ning, Annabelle, Camille, Chris, and Isaiah. They are deadly to themselves and deadly to others, is what James has been told. So he finally meets the students. And there's some things that happen before we finally get to the classroom, before we finally get learning. And they're intense, and yet at the same time, they're kind of not. J.P. Jackson does a really interesting job of keeping you focused on certain things while other things are playing in the background. And I really liked that throughout this whole story, is you really have to pay attention to every single thing that happens. Now, every time that James pisses off Miriam, every time they butt heads, pretty much, and every time something extraordinary happens, something big, a monumentous event, Miriam cuts his time. So we started at 6 months, and then we have 3 months. And a coven comes in to examine Annabelle because what she has is not just a demon attached to her, but a horde of demons, which is extremely unusual. And so they bring in a bunch of learning material for all the arcane students, which are the ones that have demon attachments. And then they're going to come back in a pretty unreasonable time frame to test those 3. And if they can't get basic attachment to their demon done, they are going to go through an exorcism, which means most likely they're going to die. So talk about the stress. So now these kids are all under stress because they have to get this taken care of. And then James kind of divulges the information of, if you guys don't learn this and get this under control, here's what's going to happen. Another name for the CMRD, kind of like another name, if you get my drift, is magic or die. Control your magic or die. Once again, talk about the pressure. And they've cut the time from 6 months to 3 months, plus these other 3 have to also learn magic rituals so that they can come under their contractual agreement with their demon, okay? Like, not a big deal, whatever. The more James learns, the more he shares with his students. And the more he realizes this is the most fucked up thing he's ever had to do. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want them to have to go through any of the testing, anything that they're supposed to have to go through. He wants everybody out. How do you get them out? Because these kids are being filmed like 24/7. So things just kind of boil and fester within James, within the students as a core group, until they assume it's the right moment in time to make a break for it. And the ending of this book, when they make their break for it, I was up way past a normal bedtime to finish this. My heart was pounding. I had some tears over a certain event. I was cheering. I was crying. I was fist bumping the air. It was spectacular. Now, my grievances with this book. Part of this book came off like it was supposed to be I don't want to say like a YA, but the students are constantly referred to as kids. And part of it was James trying to remind himself that they're kids. He can't be in a relationship with Isaiah because they're his students. But instead of constantly saying students or his responsibility or something of that nature, they're referred to as kids, which kind of takes them down a couple notches in my mind. Like, they're in their mid-20s. They are adults. So I feel like constantly referring to them as kids is demeaning to them. They're already being kind of demeaned in a way of being put in these cells. They're in a school, yet they're in prison. They're captive. Some of them not there on their own free will. So saying that they're kids versus students or prisoners, or saying these adults are my responsibility, it really griped me. And I constantly had to keep reminding myself that these are not teenagers. So that was kind of like a big issue for me throughout this whole story. Like, every time somebody referred to them as kids, I was like, no, they are adults going through hell. Refer to them as such. They've earned that. My other huge gripe is James and his role within the CMRD and his past. I get that this is a series and this is book 1 and we'll probably learn more along the way, but there's a big moment when he wants to earn his students' trust. He needs to, and he gives like the bare minimum. And that's what we get throughout this whole thing, is like the bare minimum of his past. And I feel that made a huge hole in the story. Like, so much is happening within the CMRD. So much is happening between James and the students, between James and Isaiah, and the connections that he's making throughout. And he makes little comments about the past, but we don't get anything substantial. I thought about giving this book like a 3.5 star rating, but I was so engrossed in this, I pretty much read most of it in one sitting. And I was up until I believe 2 o'clock in the morning finishing it because I refused to put it down. So I am giving Magic or Die by J.P. Jackson 4 stars. I think it's going to get really dark, and I'm so excited for that aspect right there, especially with how it ended, which leaves so many questions and has me making so many theories on what's going to happen next. So what I am going to do for you is I am going to leave the 9-Star Press and Amazon link down below so you can click it and it be on your way. If you've enjoyed this review, I'm going to ask that you help me with that YouTube algorithm and give me a like. Leave me a comment. I love to interact with all of you guys, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm recovering from some personal things in my life and I'm finally kind of getting back on track. But that is the magic of the subscribe button, is that you will get a notification when I have something new for you. If you like me and think this chick's really awesome, down below I'm going to leave stalker links aplenty. So go, click, investigate, enjoy. If you have a book or an arc you'd like me to read, or some light editing proofreading you would like done, you may request via website. Magic or Die by J.P. Jackson, published by 9-Star Press. 4 stars. Bye. Hi, my name is Christina and I am your librarian here at Christina's Bookshelf. And today I am bringing you, let's hope I say this right, Demonian by J.P. Jackson, published by 9-Star Press. This is a paranormal fantasy story, and warning before we start, this is a grotesquely dark paranormal fantasy story. There's murder, gore, mayhem, splitting bodies apart. I mean, so much